Namaste. I'm going to continue with the story that I shared this week regarding the turning of the ocean of milk. In case you did not hear that story, I'm going to say it really quick because the story that I'm going to share today stems off of the same one. So the story goes that the gods and the demons were always warring with each other, and they were both on a quest to find the elixir of immortality. So the gods went to Vishnu and said, "Hey, we're trying to find this elixir before the demons do." And Vishnu said, "Well, the only way any of you are going to find it is if you work together in harmony and create the turning of the ocean of milk." So reluctantly, they decided to work with their enemy, and they were turning and turning and turning the ocean of milk. And the first thing that comes up is poison. The second thing that comes up was a wishing tree. The third thing that comes up is like a precious and priceless jewel. And they keep churning and churning. And then Lakshmi, this beautiful goddess of beauty, happiness, and prosperity, arrives. And they keep churning. And then Lakshmi's sister comes out. They keep churning. And I mentioned Mohini comes out, this beautiful, exotic, enchantress woman, half clothed, who holds the elixir and gives the elixir to the gods first, tricking the demons. Okay, so as a diversion off of that story, but still connected to that story, when Lakshmi comes out, Lakshmi is dressed in these beautiful, like sari that's red with gold thread, and she's sitting on a lotus, and she gets noticed by the men because she's gorgeous. And when she comes out of the water, they're looking at her with a lot of lust. And she's coming out of the water realizing that she wants and desires a husband. And with all these men looking at her in a lustful way, she's turned off. Like, she doesn't want to have anything to do with them. And because she's a goddess, she's able to look into their being. And she wants someone who is, right, understandably got a lot of good and noble qualities. And she's not seeing that, but with one person, and that happened to be Vishnu. And so to choose Vishnu, this is one of the stories where she got to choose the man. She gets all of these freshly bloomed lotuses, and she ties them together in a garland, and she places it around his neck. And all these bumblebees start buzzing around. But anyway, that is a symbol of her choice and her gratitude that he was there and will become her husband. So when we look at Lakshmi, we look at her as being the goddess of prosperity and abundance. And I actually have a Lakshmi that I can show you. This is one of my murtis of Lakshmi. As you can see, she has 4 arms, very voluptuous, very beautiful. But the thing about Lakshmi is we think prosperity, abundance, and people go to her for wealth. But Lakshmi represents more than material wealth. She does represent that, but she also represents spiritual wealth, the spiritual wealth that transcends material wealth. And that's what I want us to think about when we're centering for our practice today. So I'm going to shed my shoes and meet you on the mat. If you could please sit on a block bolster or a blanket. And just like Lakshmi comes up out of the ocean sitting on a lotus, that prop is going to be our lotus today. Extend the stem of the spine upward towards the sunlight, even if it's obscured by clouds. Close the lids of the eyes. Feel your feet touching the mat, your seat, on the prop. Try to align your spine with good posture. Take a few deep breaths in and out through the nose. And allow each breath to help you to drop and to connect within. You withdraw from the outer world and sink into the inner world. I want you to be in the question, of whether you put more focus on material or spiritual wealth, material or spiritual abundance. You may feel rich in both. You may feel a lack in one or the other. Don't judge it, just be aware of it. Know that when we work into our hips today in different postures, the hips correlate back to the element of water, about getting into that flow of abundance. It is our relationship with everything, whether it's ourself, each other, the world at large, the creator above, even money. And on your next in-breath, we're going to open the eyes and we're going to take the arms up to frame the face. As we exhale, the palms are going to turn out and we're going to drop the arms into a Y shape. Inhale, reach out, feeling exhilarated. And as you exhale, drop the arms shoulder height. Inhale, reach through the fingertips. And then exhale, drop the arms so they're just barely hovering above the floor. All right, so we're doing 4 different arm positions representing Lakshmi. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, hands in a Y shape. Inhale, extend, and then exhale, drop the arms shoulder height. Inhale, reach out, and then exhale, spill the hands to hover. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, the Y shape. Inhale, be here. Exhale, shoulder height. Inhale, shoulder height. And then exhale to that 4th level. All right, one more. That was a set of 3. We'll do a set of 4. Inhale, arms up. Exhale into the Y. Inhale, be here. Exhale, the arms come down another fraction. Inhale, be here. And then exhale, descend the hands. All right, let's drop that left hand all the way down. Reach that right arm up and over. And we're going to take this a little bit deeper. So take the hand to hold the back of the head and then pivot and peel the heart open. Go to Parshva Drishti, looking sharply through the right corner of the eyes. This does deepen the stretch, so make sure that you can still openly breathe. If your breath is restricted whatsoever, do less physically. Think of the physical body as being like part of the material plane. And then look at your breath as being part of the spiritual plane. So invest in your breath more than your body. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, prop down onto your right hand. Uplift the left arm. Carry it over. Beginning here. From the side stretch, cup a hold of the back side of your head with your hand. Roll open through your chest. Looking sharply through the left corner of the eye. On your next in breath, let's slowly come all the way up. And we're going to transfer to hands and knees. So when you come to tabletop position, obviously, check in with your mat. If you need more padding under the knees, you can supply a blanket there. Once you come to tabletop, hands located under the shoulders, knees below the hips. We'll inhale, create cow. And then as we exhale, the left arm is going to extend out and we're going to bow down towards the floor. It's a more active version of melting heart. Inhale, table. Exhale, cat stretch. Inhale, cow. Exhale, right arm out, drip down and hover. A half melting heart. Continue to breathe. Inhale, right hand table. Exhale, cat stretch pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, left arm out and drip down. Hover and breathe. Inhale, table. Exhale, cat stretch. Inhale, cow tilt. Exhale, right arm out and drip down. Hover, hold, and breathe. We're going to do one more to each side. So inhale, table. Exhale, cat stretch, hollow out the belly and chest. Arc up through the shoulder blades. Inhale to cow. Exhale, left arm out. Stay in that back knee. Inhale, table. Exhale, cat stretch. Inhale, cow tilt. Exhale, right arm out. Drop and hover. Inhale, table. This time we're changing it up. We're going back to downward facing dog. And from Adho Mukha Svanasana, soften and bend your left knee and pump your right heel down towards the floor. And then swapping sides, bending the right knee, sinking the left calf and heel firmly towards the floor. And now walk the feet towards the top end of the mat, taking the weight off the hands. Soften through your knees. Collapse over into ragdoll. Or cross your arms. Holding and breathing here. What are part of your life's pursuits that motivates you to move forward? Are you driven by money and material wealth? Or are you driven by love and spiritual wealth? I'm currently trying to change my attitude. I think I've grown up thinking you can't have both. You can only have one or the other. But I don't think that's true. The truth is, we can have it both. We can have it all. Continue to open up the back side of the body and refreshing the skin of the face. Consider anything that you may need to revamp or review or let go of. Hold for about 3 more. And when you're ready, drive those feet down. Sweep the arms up to upward worship, where you're gazing towards closed palms. And as you exhale, take your hands to lace behind your back. Carry the hands over to your left side waist and drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. On your next in-breath, pick up the crown, take your hands behind your back, crank the shoulders in towards the spine, and open up the cavity of your chest. And then release the hands, sweep them back to upward worship, opening your throat. Exhale, hands behind the back, tie them together, and then take them to the right side waist. And exhale, lower the right ear. Inhale, pick up the head. Arms reach back. This time as we exhale, we're going to bend the knees and we're going to lower the belly and chest over the lap. I meant to say if you needed a strap here, sometimes holding a strap in the hands works better for the shoulders. Your head just bow towards your shins. And then on your exhalation, release the hands apart and bring them down beside your feet. Standing form of child's pose. So we're going to actually roll up to Tadasana. And I want you to imagine as you're emerging out of this ragdoll position into a standing position that you're like Lakshmi coming out of the ocean. So press through the feet, scoop the belly in, let your arms hang free, and then eventually straighten your legs. Eventually line up one vertebra on top of the other until the head is stacked over the shoulders and the shoulders are stacked over the hips. And then we'll bring hands together to prayer. Inhale, take the arms to your sides and up. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. So this time over straight legs if possible. More active. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, pour down. Affirming nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. Inhale, plank. So from plank, we're going to shift forward, lower down to chaturanga. When we inhale to up dog, separate your feet. Move down to the pubic bone and then take your arms to slide ahead of you. So you're on the rim of the pelvis. You're resting on the pubic bone and the top of the legs. If this is too much for your low back, I understand. And to make that more appropriate, you can come to Sphinx arms. Otherwise, hold still. There is a lot of compression that occurs in the low back here. The legs stay more neutral, different than up dog, and the buttock stays soft. Even though the weight's on the pubic bone, it's not because of tucking the tailbone. We can get that pressure by tucking the tailbone. But really that pressure is here just because that's where the weight is landing. Three more breaths. If you're already in Sphinx, be there. If you're in Seal like me, you're going to join me in Sphinx. And then the left leg is going to slide up. And you want that knee, I know you can't really see that, but it's in line with the hip, and the foot is off the mat, resting on the interior side. Now, if this becomes a little problematic for the low back here, because opening the hip will create and draw more sensation to that area, you can walk the elbows forward, dropping more to your ribs and resting in prayer hands. You can do one or the other. Use this time to move into the flow of abundance with your spiritual nature. Remembering this can be approached as a spiritual practice. Now we'll extend the left leg back, and we'll draw the right knee up and flip to the inside of that foot, propping up like so, or down a little lower, like this. Pick one or the other. You may notice when you create this half frog leg, sometimes the weight in the inside of that knee can be a little much on a wood floor. So some people like to place a blanket underneath the knee. And it could be showing up in your ankle as well. On your next in breath, let's go ahead and stretch out the right leg. And on the out breath, let's pour down to the brow. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Push up to all fours. Try to keep your thighs fairly together as you drop back into child's pose. So different than tadpole. Tadpole, the knees be away and you're still doing a little bit of a back bend. With the thighs closer together, it will pad underneath your belly to keep the belly drawn in to give support to the low back. And that's what we want after those back bends. So release down to the brow. The elbows can descend. The fingertips can naturally curl in, and take time just to withdraw, to be introspective and breathe. And on your next inhale, I want you to rock up to hands and knees. On the exhale, downward facing dog. So we're going to move towards a upward swan or upward pigeon, and then melt down into the passive pigeon or swan. So if you need to form deer or a roll to your back to do a modification, go ahead and do that. But if you want to do that upward swan, bring the left knee behind the left wrist. Your fingertips actually walk back so that you can bring the torso over the pelvis. You're pushing through the knees and shins to draw up through the pelvic floor, to draw up through the navel, maybe even floating and hovering your hands. And then from this upward positioning, start to melt down. And again, you can do deer or return to your back, left ankle over the right knee. For half pigeon or figure four. Or you can release in this manner. So I want to share with you what the four arms represent with Lakshmi, because everything regarding these deities are very symbolic. So one of the arms represents Dharma, the pursuit of a purpose-filled life. Another one is Artha, which is the pursuit of money or material wealth. You have Kama, which is the pursuit of love. And Moksha, which is the pursuit of freedom and liberation. So each of her arms represents one of those, and some say it represents the four Vedas. What has been your main pursuit? Has your pursuit been for purpose, for money, for love, or freedom. And maybe some sort of blend or combination of two, three, or more. Inhale it slowly, start to uplift. Stacking onto the palms, curling the toes under, taking down dog. Everything you're feeling in the aftermath of that pose running down through the left-legged foot, imagine it's washing out any toxins, any tension, any stress, any debris, any fatigue, any illness away. Now let's bring the right knee behind the right wrist. We'll do the upward version first. So that means we're slowly building up, pushing through what is residing on the ground to come up taller. Root lock, belly lock, Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. And let go. Or take one of those alternative poses. Feeling down. Submitting your weight to gravity. Meditating on your breath. Or meditating again on the symbology of the four arms, the pursuit of love, the pursuit of money, the pursuit of a purpose-filled life, or the purpose of freedom. On your next inhalation, let's slowly start to lift up. Press down with the hands. Curl the back toes. Moving back to downward facing dog. Letting the right side get its flush. Let it drain down through the leg and foot. Imagine it's pouring out. Moving anything unwanted and unnecessary away. And then meditationally walk, lunge, or float the feet to the top of the mat, coming to Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, pour back down. Your next in-breath, root down to rise up. And exhale, bring the hands home to the heart. Okay. We're going to fold and elevate the heels and try to come to a toe balance. Now, if you need blocks to help you for a moment to get established, you can use those. Hands to prayer position at the heart if that's available. And from toe balance, we're going to consider the animals that are often depicted with Lakshmi, and that is the owl and elephant. Sometimes you'll see her surrounded by elephants in the water. But the owl is another. And the owl represents wisdom and knowledge. Now, owl in yoga kids is this pose, but where we're turning the head. So be careful. You may need to hold the blocks. But we're turning the head to the right. Seeing what we can view behind us. Like an owl that's able to turn its head all the way around. And then you're going to turn it all the way to the left. And you may notice when you turn your head side to side, you may have a little less flexibility or range of motion. We're going to do that again, turning to gaze over the right. And then turning the head to gaze over the left. And now that we're really beginning to feel the feet, we're going to turn the heels towards each other, toes kind of spin away, the knees flare out, the arms walk ahead of us, and we're coming into this variation of garland pose. Remember, a garland of lotus flowers was wrapped around Vishnu's neck because that's how she was claiming him as her man. Now you can also take the arms in front of your shins, hands to the outer hips, and drip the head down more. You can also take the hands to the floor behind the feet and relax in the neck a little bit extra. The spine is more rounded here. The garland is often given or symbolizes gratitude. So maybe consider for a moment something you're grateful for. Maybe that's your material wealth. Maybe that's your spiritual wealth. Maybe that's something different altogether. When you're ready, arms come back in front, and then you'll slowly, safely come down to sit in a comfortable cross-legged position with your arms held up. We're going to twist left on the inhale, twist right on the exhale. So earlier this week, when we were focused on turning of the ocean of milk, we focused on a lot of twists, but we didn't do this one. The eyes can be open or closed. And you can move fast or slow. 3 more. And then come back to sit, palms open. And then we're going to separate the feet out. The left shin is going to come in front of us, almost like we're doing double pigeon, except we're not going to do double pigeon. What we're going to try to do is catch that right foot and bring it to a half lotus. If half lotus isn't available, then you can do the double pigeon, or you can have the right foot out in front. Either way, it's a hip opener. All right. Whichever formation you've created, lift up. Exhale, hinge down. Find your edge of flexibility wherever that may be. And some people like to set their head on a block. Some people like to rest their elbows on a block. She sits on a red lotus. She holds a lotus. She made the garland made of lotuses. Lotus represents transformation, spiritual growth, purity, enlightenment, fertility. Now remember when she put the garland of lotuses around the neck, there were all these bumblebees, coming to the flowers. We're going to do a bumblebee breath here. We're going to do it 5 times. And a bumblebee breath is inhaling through the nose, and as you exhale, you're humming, but closing your ears. Okay, so we're going to do 5 of those. Breathing in, breathing out with a hum. 4 more. At the end of your 5 bumblebee breaths, go ahead and slowly back away from that position. Separate your legs out. Then bring your right shin in. Maybe take the left foot to half lotus, or double, or set it in front. Any of those positions will work. Either way, it's going to open the hips. All right, inhale, uplift. Exhale, hinge down. Each side's different, so because we're dropping into the other hip more, or maybe you formed a different shape, you may need to be higher. You might be able to go lower. approach it with a curious mind. We're going to move into those 5 bumblebee breaths. When you're ready, breathing in. Breathe it out in that hum and let it linger. 4 more. Slowly coming up after the bumblebee breath. And this is where we're going to use the block. We did the owl, one of the animals, and we're going to work on one of the elephant poses. So if you come down to your back with your knees bent, we're going to tuck and lift to move into supported bridge. The block aligned under the sacrum to sit on. Just be here a moment. And go ahead and lift your left leg up. Plantar flexion of the foot. Keep it held up. Keep the toes slightly pointed. They don't have to be fiercely pointed, just in that general direction. And then as you exhale, keep the leg straight, but lower the heel to the ground. So you're in half full bridge, half bridge. Left leg straight, right knee bent. Unless that's too much for your back, if that's cranky to your back, bend the left knee instead. Walk the left foot back. Inhale, sail the right leg sky. This is one of our elephant poses. The leg mimics the trunk. some of the pictures I've seen of Lakshmi being in the water or sitting on top of the water. The elephants are in the water and they're spraying the water out of their trunks. You can visualize that as you're here. And lower the leg all the way down. When you're ready, walk the right foot back, tuck and lift, move the block, roll it down, and then tuck your knees into your chest. And our final position before Shavasana is hand hold to the knees, and we're just going to circle the knees several times one direction, several times the other. Now, if by chance you felt like you wanted another hip opener, you could splay the knees open, tucking blocks or pillows up underneath your knees. If you'd rather have the corpse position, just straighten your legs out. Once you gather everything you need, once you take the shape that your body desires, scan through your body to make sure you're truly letting go. Typically, when the feet are relaxed, they roll away from your midline. And typically, when the feet are relaxed, it helps to bring the relaxation up through each leg. Bring that softness into the buttocks and pelvic floor. Relax the belly enough so it can bellow as you breathe. Bring that relaxation up into your chest. Send it down through your arms and back. And bring it up to your face and sensory organs. Use this time to rest, to breathe, to reflect, or to meditate. Your next in breath, walk the feet closer together or stretch them out if you've been in the hip opener. Reach the arms overhead, create that morning type stretch. Then hug the knees in, roll across your back, turn to one side, and then come up. Sitting upright, hands together to pray. May we continue to analyze what is material wealth compared to spiritual wealth. May we continue to reflect on our attitude towards one, both, or a blend. And may we flow into the abundance of both. The light and the love that I hold within my heart bows humbly and respectfully to the love and the light you hold within yours. Namaste.